think we went over this before, so I'm going to try to go at it a different way, a little different way, not too much. What is prana? I gave you a series of handouts, and so that we can diagram, so we can kind of look at it. Prana is a universal life force, and it comes from a place it comes from an endless potential. In the Hindu religion, I think they describe it best. They describe Shiva as being this endless potential. It's a pure state of endless potential, which is the absolute, which is God. And this endless potential is unmanifested, but yet all manifestation comes from that endless potential. This is released into manifestation by, they describe Vak. And Vak is the initial release of nata, or sound, you see here. And from there, this Shakti power comes about. Shakti power is, the Shakti is manifestation itself. Everything in manifestation is Shakti. All right? It's a power that was released from Shiva. Now, in the Orthodox Hinduism and Buddhism, they get it kind of wrong when it gets out into the Orthodox world, where they say that Shiva is male and Shakti is female. And that's really not so. I know people like to talk about the yin and the yang, but it's really not so. Shiva is male, female, and neither. And we're talking about the energy or the power. Okay? So, because Shiva is infinite, it has no beginning and no end. Now, from the infinite of this endless potential, because if something is infinite, it has an endless potential. The potential is never ever realized, in other words. Something that's infinite, the potential of it is never realized, because there's endless potential. There's no plateau. There's no ceiling that it can reach. So when you hear people say that, understand that they have a basic understanding of Shiva and Shakti. They haven't really thought about it, unless they're talking about it on a very low level. Okay? Shakti represents, they say Shakti represents the female part of it, which is that part that enter into manifestation. Okay, that is wrong too. Although it is a female power primarily, but it is also a male power too. And you can see that as you move through, understand creation, because Shakti becomes a male power, a female power, and a neutral power. See? So it has the same qualities as Shiva, but yet is manifested. So in the modifications of Shakti, Shakti takes on a cosmic female state, but yet it shifts into male and female in neither, as needed, because Shakti creates from itself as it moves out in order to manifest creation. You know, and in the teachings of the in the sacred Hindu and Tantra and the Vedas teachings, you will hear of the Shakti power going into a Shiva state. You know, the Shiva state is usually a dormant state, and then when it comes out of that dormant state, it produces something. So that lets you know that is neither male or female, and yet it's male and female. Because throughout the universe, you always need a positive and a negative force in order to bring about creation. And Shakti is a creative force, so therefore it has male and female within it. Okay? So within Shakti, it's described, you know, there's 4 principles of creation. And we're looking at the universe or the galaxy, if you want to bring it down lower. And you have Shakti mind, you have Shakti Prana, you have Shakti Nana, and you have Shakti udana or love. Okay? These are the 4 major principles of Shakti. They're almost states of consciousness of Shakti. Yeah.
So when we describe love as a 3rd degree creative aspect force, these are the 4 forces we're referring to?
A 3rd degree of what?
Creative aspect force?
Is one of them, yes. Yes. Love is the 3rd degree because it's preservative.
Right.
All right? Because you can't, if you manifest something, then that manifestation, because it's manifested, it needs to be preserved, right? Because why? Because you have created it. So therefore, there's a time factor to it. So you use mind, right, to actually create it, right? Then, well, you use knowledge in order to bring about the creation. And the knowledge had to come through a mind that molds the prana, right? And then the prana had to be tempered, right? And how do you temper something? By placing a time factor on it. And that time factor is a preservative cycle in which it would exist. So that's what the love is. Okay.
So why is it called the 3rd creative, 3rd degree?
Because it is the 3rd.
Wouldn't it be like the last step?
No, not really. Because although we have mind. Really, knowledge and mind and prana. Well, knowledge and mind is really one aspect. You know, it's really one aspect. Okay, but we break it up so that someone can understand it. And knowledge is really what? Anyone knows? Is the law. It's a karmic law, it's a karmic signature to anything. Because nothing exists without specification, right? So what is the law? The karmic law is specification to life. It's a framework that everything must be placed in, okay? So from these principles of Shakti comes the Mahabhutas, and the Mahabhutas are driven by those four principles of Shakti, and the Mahabhutas are the cosmic elements of the universe. Right? They are etheric cosmic elements of the universe. And from the Mahabhutas come, well, let's go over the Mahabhutas. Well, I'm just going to list it here. These are the Mahabhutas: Akasa, Vaya, Tejas, Apas, and Paritis. Now, what is this? Akasa is etheric sound. Vayu is etheric air. Tejas is etheric fire or light. Apas is etheric liquids. And Paritis is etheric solids. Okay? Everything have those aspects within it, those cosmic elements. Everything in manifestation has all five of those cosmic elements within it, and is built upon those things. Then let's skip over the galaxy and all of that, and we come back to our solar system, our solar logos. Our solar logos is the sun. It is actually the God of this solar system. The sun gives life and takes life within this solar system. All life in this solar system lives by the sun, because of the sun. We pull on the sun in order to exist. All life do. From the tiniest aspect of life to the largest aspect of life. Okay? And from that comes the five major pranas, right? I'm just giving we're going to skip over the whole earth because we're going to go back to it. We're trying to get to us. The human aspect of prana, which that's what we want to deal with, because there's a whole nother, on the solar level, there's a planetary level of prana. But I'm kind of going to skip over that. And we're going to go to the human part. When all this prana reaches the earth, or reaches our atmosphere and enter our body, we look at prana, we give prana a different name now. And we have five major pranas within the subtle bodies, and five minor pranas within the gross body, okay? And these are the pranas. And we'll go into that deeper later. And we have the nadis, which these pranas travel through the nadis, the Pingala nadi, which is a positive flow of energy within the body, and the negative nadis, which is which is Ida. And you have 242,000 pathways of these nadis traveling through the body, carrying energy, carrying this prana. Okay? And this is what we seek to control. Yeah, what'd you say?
Those two nadis, is that like one nose and the other?
Yeah, that's the enter. Is the right and left nose, the right and left eyes, right and left ears and mouth. We'll get to it. You'll see. The next chart gives a greater, a little bit more detail into this form of prana. which I just went over all of this. Okay. It is the thing I didn't talk about here is the tavic rays, which the tavic rays actually flows from the sun. And on the tavic rays, you have the prana, you have the mahabhutas that's been modified by the sun, because they come from the absolute through the central sun, through our sun and down to us. Okay? Now we receive all of these pranas and through our chakra system. And this is just looking at 7 of the major chakras and the auric body here, and the components within the chakras. It's not all the chakras. I don't even think all the chakras are publicly announced. These are the 7 major chakras, and then the components within the chakras. All right? Like each chakra has a bindu, which is it's considered a divine germ from God, or better terminology that we can understand is a point of consciousness of all knowledge space. Each chakra has that. So what do we do when we awaken the chakra? We open this all knowledge space, and we view the world, the solar system, and the universe through that chakra, through that all knowledge. So that's what we seek to do when we open a chakra, when we activate a chakra. The chakra system is based on a nata system, which is a supreme sound. All consciousness is sound. All consciousness is sound. So whether it's audible sound or non-audible sound, everything lives or within manifestation makes a sound if it has a consciousness. And so therefore all things in life in manifestation is conscious to some degree. The chair you're sitting in is conscious. It has a consciousness. And it makes a sound. Because that's the consciousness within it. The grain of sand underneath our feet is conscious. It's a living thing. It's conscious. So it has is evolving. It's moving through through its cycles of time in order to take on a greater degree of energy and manifestation in order to express itself. Okay, everything has a consciousness. So this sound is described for the humans that the soul when the soul thought to manifest man, and the word man in Sanskrit actually means to think. Okay, to think, to make conscious thought. That's what it actually means, because you see mantra. If you separate the man and mantra, the Sanskrit name for that means to think. Okay, so when you when the soul thought to manifest man or place its consciousness in a human body, what did it do? It pushed the consciousness down through Shushumna, which is the Brahmanati within Shushumna, which is a pure realm of existence, where only the greatest power within manifestation can reside. And it moved it down through that Brahmanati, and it brought it to the base chakra, what we call the root chakra. And it curled it up into a 3.5 knot, creating a vehicle of expression or vehicle of consciousness for itself. And then that expanded itself into a matrix of natis, the 242,000 natis. And that created the subtle bodies in which consciousness can be expressed on multiple levels of existence within the auric and human and mental and emotional framework, which produce man as we know it. Okay? So to go through this, you have the bindu, which it came through, the nata, the sound, then the seed sound, which was the day, and then the further seed sounds, which is the chakra petals, which use the tavic rays from the sun in order to build upon itself, along with the mahabhutas, which is the cosmic elements of sound. Remember what we said? The cosmic elements of sound, right? Air, light and fire, liquids and solids. Matrix of natis pull this energy together in order to build the bodies in which it would exist in, okay? And it did this by manipulating this sound and manipulating this cosmic element and raising it to at least the level of what? What level they had to raise it to? Anyone know? In order to finalize the bodies, the heart center. They had to raise it to the heart center in order to finalize the bodies. And then once it got, it moved it in order to lock the consciousness in to at least the throat center, where it gave expression to all the sounds in unison. Okay? So I'm trying to go through this real quick. The auric body, since the matrix of the natis were formed and all the chakras were activated for basic consciousness, and you had a functionable auric body on all levels of existence, on all gross levels of existence, I said. On the gross levels of existence, that means you had it on the astral level of existence, and you had it on the etheric level of existence. Okay, so this further goes into talking about the point of consciousness and the kundalini that's flowing through the natis. Okay, because you cannot blink an eye, move a finger or anything without kundalini. Okay, so kundalini allows motion. Here I go into, and you can study this on your own, I go into the 5 major pranas within the body that flows through the nadis and on the outside of the nadis. All right? and that is prana, which which moves from the upper chest down to at least the solar plexus, and apana, which comes up from the base, the root chakra, the muladhara chakra, up to the at least to the solar plexus center and a little up to the heart, and falls back down. And then you have samana, prana, which is centralized within the solar plexus region between the heart and the sex center. And then you have the udana prana, which moves from the head and down through the arms and legs. And you have the vyana prana, which circulates throughout the whole body. Okay? Now, you can see how all of this it follows and it's in sync with the Mahabhutas, because the Mahabhuta, which is apas, Mahabhutas is also located where? In the sex center, right? And it travels all through the body because why? What is apas? It's a liquid. So it travels all through the body as well. So it follows suits with that. And of course, the samana with the tejas or agni, because why? It is a fire, right? And in the solar plexus center, you when you digest food, you need to burn it up, right? You need to break it up so you can get the energy out of it. Now this, I'm not going to go into it too much, but this shows you the dominating prana at each level. Each level, that each chakra produces a dominating prana. It has all the pranas in it, and the color represents the prana, the combination of pranas. And it further goes into and shows you the Mahabhutas, the pranas, and the chakras, the color of the chakras. The color of the chakras is the color of the energy. Yeah.
Is that what color is in general? Each color is a different mixture of pranas?
Yeah. And not only that, there's I don't really want to go into it, but there's maybe we'll have one class or we'll go into it deep. Because this is a long subject. You can write a book on this subject. But you have each chakra has a particular prana that flows through it. Then it has all the sub-pranas there, and then each prana takes on a exoteric type function, and it takes on an esoteric type function. All right, and then you have the different levels of prana that can produce certain things or powers or whatever that operates out of each chakra. Okay, so it becomes very, very complex, but simple once you begin to understand it. But just to grasp the understanding of it, it takes a while.
Can you remind us of the difference between esoteric and exoteric?
Exoteric is the outer teachings, and esoteric is the inner teachings.
So by outer
Okay.
means the most
Yeah. And the general, that can be given to the general public. And then the esoteric is something that's hidden, in a sense. All right, so here we come to one of the great secrets, which you don't hear a lot of, and it's the 4 states of sound. All right. I'm not going to go into this much unless you all have questions, but when I talked about the soul pushing this Shakti power down Shushumna, or the Brahmanati, and bringing about the 3.5 knot, which is the vehicle of consciousness, which everyone knows as Kundalini. But most people don't realize that Kundalini is the vehicle of consciousness. You tell most people that, and they have a blank look on their face, because the only thing they think about is the dormant power. They don't realize that the dormant power is the vehicle of consciousness, because without that dormant power, you cannot blink an eye, you cannot think a thought, you cannot see, you cannot hear, you can't do anything. It is the essence of consciousness, okay? So what happened, this Kundalini in a sleep state or dormant state, it releases a sound, and that sound moves the energy into a gnotic state of being or consciousness. It releases positive and negative aspects of itself in a matrix of positive and negative, to only come together where there's a minor, where there's a minute, minor, and major chakra. Okay, that's when these nadis intersect, and they create thousands upon thousands of pathways before they terminate at the Christ center or the third eye. By the time it is stated, by the time they terminate there in the head, that there's at least 242,000 pathways created. Some people say as much as 772,000, because they count the branches of it. So, but at least 242,000 pathways that it creates before it reaches there. So it is there that it creates this matrix of consciousness that pervades the whole of your aura and the whole of your body or bodies, and it brings life and consciousness to those areas. And it's all done, and it's described in the ancient books as the 4 states of sound, because as this celestial sound moves from this state of consciousness, this state of Shakti consciousness, it graduates itself. It moves from an unspoken sound to an unspoken sound to a gross sound, right? But during that time, it formulates and creates a framework for you and I and everything to exist within. It creates all these bodies of expression so that we can exist. Okay, now, we say all of that to say what? Now we get to the manipulation of it. Prana is molded and moved by mind, right? By mind. How do we move? How do we make prana active? By our mind. And what's the greatest power of our mind? Our mind, we can create things. Right now, you can close your eyes and you can imagine something into being in your mind's eye, right? You can close your eyes and breathe in a little bit, and you can take yourself back to the beach. And you can begin, if you concentrate on it enough, you'll feel the sun hitting your face, you'll hear the waters running. You can go there, right, in your imagination. Guess what? You created that, whether you realize it or not. You just created that scene in your mind, in your auric fields. And that is the power of mind. How did you create it? You created it on a mental level. You pulled in this prana from all around you, and you manifested that little world for that brief second, moment, minute, or hour, how long you had it. It was in existence, okay? So prana does what? Prana molds, mind molds prana, right? And prana is attracted to mind. And it's attracted to mind in a sense where it actually forms itself to mind energy, okay? Just like liquid water. If I had a cup here, and I set the cup here and I pulled the water inside the cup, the water's going to take the shape of what? The cup. That's what prana does. Prana takes the shape of mind. What is imagination in mind? Imagination in mind is a creative a triggering point for mind. Now, imagination, you have imagination and then you have visualization. Visualization is that component of imagination that sustains the visualization. If I imagine something, if I imagine a cup in my hand, then the only way I sustain that imagination is through visualization, right? I keep a visual look or perspective of that cup. Once I take my concentration away from there, what happens to the cup? It begins to dissolve. It begins to deteriorate. Because why? That visualization is the tension, is that pressure and tension within mind that holds those pranic particles together in order to keep that imagination into being. Okay?
It's
Now,
like the love energy.
huh?
It's kind of like the love energy.
Yes. It's the triggering point for the love energy. Now, if I can muscle up enough visualization, imagination and visualization to sustain that visualization for a minute, an hour, a day, or years, right? I must introduce a higher quality of visualization into that, which comes the love energy. I must place enough love in that I had created in order to sustain it on any level of existence, whether it's a physical level, an astral level, or an etheric level, right? Or even a mental level, okay? So that's one of the great secrets of imagination and visualization. You had a question? Huh? Okay. So that's what imagination is all about. Imagination is not something that you just throw away. People say, oh, he's daydreaming, No, it's a power, it's a strength. It's something that you can harness and create. If you see someone that has a particular quality about themselves. They have a particular skill or some type of knowledge or education or whatever, and you don't have it, right? You can go and study that person and study all the idiosyncrasies of that person. Now, the best thing about it, while you're studying them, your subconscious mind is doing a complete study of them, right? So now, it went off. So now, when you bring into being your imagination, right? Your subconscious mind can come into play, and when you create the picture of that with your conscious mind, you started with your conscious mind. Your subconscious mind has all the specifications for that, things that's not going to surface on your conscious mind. And because your conscious mind and subconscious mind has those specifications, the superconscious mind even come into play even more, because if you have 1 and 2, then you have 3. 3 can be added, all right? So it's going to come into play, and it's going to create this perfect picture for you in your imagination and visualization. And you can manifest those qualities within you, qualities that you did not have and you would not have had. So what happens within your auric field? Your auric field takes on this great magnetic urge to attract the necessary skills, the necessary training, the necessary everything that your auric field was not subject to before. It creates those magnetic fields and draw that knowledge, the circumstances that you can gain that greater knowledge and greater wisdom and greater skills, see? But it was your imagination and visualization that brought that about. And that is your power over this unbelievable, endless supply of prana that's within the universe. You at any moment, you can call on this energy and you can solve any problem you want to. And it is through concentration, contemplation, and eventually meditation that you can build on this ability of imagination. Everyone has this ability to imagine and visualize. Now, how well you do it depends on your level of concentration and contemplation. All right? So this is the triggering, this is the power of imagination. Imagination gives you the power to utilize mind energy. Okay? Mind energy, which molds and shapes. Okay? Now, you, the soul, is above consciousness, is above mind. Okay? So it's you, the soul, using this creative faculty called imagination and visualization to mold mind in the way you want it to in order to create the situation that you want, right? Through rearranging prana, by manipulating this prana into what you need it to be, okay? So I go into what I just told you, all right? Now, this is what I talked to you about earlier. The nadis and the senses of man. All of these are expression of what? Based on what I just told you. Yeah. Yeah, Shakti what? What did I call Kundalini? Shakti what? Consciousness. Shakti consciousness. Okay, because why? The consciousness, the Shakti consciousness, which is now Kundalini, right? As you stated, you were right, Kundalini, it needs a vehicle to work through. And this is the vehicle that it needs to work through. This is the vehicle it needs to work through. So it has these when these natis, the 242,000 natis I was telling you about, they terminate here at the Christ Center, and they express themselves through the senses, through all the different senses. Now, I place here, and down at the bottom, I put a little chart there so you can understand these senses. I think we even have a deeper chart, a more detailed chart, where I give 10 senses instead of the normal 5 senses. But I didn't place them in here, but if you want it, you can email me for it. What I want to focus in here is the mouth and the tongue, and relate to back to the natis and the Shiva, Shakti, and Nada. In the ancient teachings, this is one of the secrets that wasn't given until recently. We wasn't allowed to even give it out until recent. But it tells you how important the mouth is, the mouth or speech. And it says that the top lip is the Shiva, represents the Shiva, because it's stillness, because of its stillness. It doesn't move that much, okay? And the tongue represents the nata, the sound, the thing that brings the power. And the bottom lip represents the Shakti. All right, the power, because why? Shakti is always in motion. You know, the Shakti power is always in motion, it's always moving. Okay? And the tongue itself is connected to what? Huh? It's connected to Kundalini. It's connected to the sex center too, and the base of the spine, but it's connected to Kundalini. And the tip of the tongue, you have a psychic center that goes all the way back down to the Kundalini, because it is the sound, it brings forth that, it carries that sound that moves the will of the soul into the physical world. Okay, so your spoken word is an aspect of what? Is an aspect of your thoughts, your consciousness. Okay, it's hard to express your full consciousness. You cannot express your full consciousness through sound, through gross sound, you know, because mind energy moves too fast to totally express. You know, you can set You can go into a deep state of mysticism and go into a subject completely. You can go into 24 volumes of something within a couple hours. And to place that into a book would take a lifetime from those few hours, because that's how fast mind moves. You know, it's estimated that mind moves 4,000 times the speed of light. So it's almost impossible to express yourself fully through the spoken word. Now we get into another aspect of, can they see this online?
Yes, as you're putting them up.
Okay. Now we get into another aspect of manipulating prana. And we're going to touch a little bit on mudra yoga. The hands, the physical hands is another way to manipulate prana. And it's called mudra yoga. Okay? Before you get into mudra yoga, you should know something about mantra yoga. But I'm going to kind of skip over that today and go into a little bit of mudra yoga. But we talked about all the pranas. How do we manipulate the pranas within the body? And we manipulate the pranas within the body through mudra yoga, through a form of mudra yoga. The thumb represents apana, which is the prana at the base of the spine. The pointing finger represents vyana, which is the prana within the sex center. And right below it in this diagram, I show that the thumb represents gross, which is the earth, and vyana, which is water, and samana, fire, which is a cosmic element, was related. And notice that the finger, the fire finger, is the longest finger in the hand, because it's the flame. The flame always reach upwards. You know, no matter how you hold a flame, it seems always to go up. You know, and prana, which is air, right? Which is the ring finger. So and then udana, which is ether, which is the pinky finger, the smallest finger, which represents a subtleness to itself. Okay? Now, it is through the manipulation, each one of these fingers are related back to one of the major chakras along the spine. And you'll see the associated chakras in the chart here. And, the base of the spine, the sex center, the solar plexus center, the heart chakra, and throat chakra. You'll see the associated 5 major pranas, the tavic pranic states, which like I told you, which is the cosmic elements, and then the gross elements as well. All right? And in the middle of the hand, you have a major chakra. What makes a major chakra? We're told that there's 21 nadis that intersect in order to make a major chakra. So out of the 242,000 nadis that run through the body, at least 21 have joined there and created this huge vortex of compaction, of power, and that's what makes a major chakra. Okay.
Is it only Ida and Pingala divided into positive, negative, or is it the respect, like the Ida side of the nadis are all negative, and the Pingala side is all
Well, that's why it's a negative energy and a positive energy. And they only come together, they only intersect at those chakra points, what I was saying. It's a positive flow of energy and then a negative flow of energy. It's expressing that positive flow. It's expressing positive and negative. You asking, is somewhere in there, is it some type of negative within the positive? That's what you're asking?
right. I mean, at each chakra, I'm asking, including the ones.
Each chakra is completely balanced. That's the only way it can be a chakra. Because when it intersects, that means that it created a balance. Remember, it intersects at 7, 14, and 21. The 7 is a minute chakra. The 14 is a minor chakra. So when it intersects, is totally balanced. Okay. So what happens when you have a negative and a positive come together? Huh? But it creates what?
Balance. Balance.
It creates balance, but it brings about an environment to allow Shushuna or a Brahmanati force to build up. You understand? That's what it does. It creates it to allow that Brahmanati or Shushuna force to build up. And when that when that happened, then then you have this tremendous vortex of energy that happened. In other words, there are the presence of the Bindu is near. Okay? Like you have the Maha Bindu of the sun, because why? Because all the nodic flow of energy within the galaxy have intersected at that point. So now you have this great Maha Bindu, which is the greatest expression of God within this solar system. It's the sun. And the next greatest expression is the planets, because the planets are also a Maha Bindu, right? So that's what we have here. Okay, so when they intersect, they create the right environment to allow a flow of energy, and they can tap into the Bindu, the Shushuna. They have a Shushuna effect. That's what's happening.
So I don't know that they don't only intersect along Shushuna, they intersect all throughout.
Yes, all throughout the body.
Anytime that quality of nadi intersect, that's where you find a center.
Yes, yes. Now remember now, the Bindu is the background of everything. You understand that? Okay. So it's where if you create the proper conditions, then you can tap into that power. Okay? You can tap into the power because it's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. Okay, the triggering mechanisms of mudra, of the mudra technique. We have the nani yoga, the kama yoga, and we have the bhatha yoga, pranayama, and visualization. Okay? It should be imagination and visualization.
What is it?
I say it should be imagination and visualization. The fifth one. So all of that equals mudra, a mudra technique. All right? Of course, nani yoga being the wisdom behind what you're doing, which creates the framework. Okay? And what you're trying to do, you're trying to create all the right conditions to allow this free flow of prana. You know, I think here I say a sattvic line or level of pure consciousness. That's what you're trying to create here. In order to seal, restrict, and redistribute this prana in the direction that you want it to go to. So what do you have to do? You have to create the right karmic environment to allow that free flow of prana, right? And that's why you're using the mudra yoga, the bhatha yoga, that's why you're bringing about all of this. You're using your prana, your pranayama to bring this about. And the imagination and visualization helps create that funnel, that conduit to allow that energy to flow through you. Okay? So these are the 5 triggering points. Okay? And then I give you examples of them. Huh? Yeah, I gave it away already. I gave this away years ago. These are the different mudras. Just give you an example of them. Okay? You all know that we use this one when we pray, right? And I give you how you trigger like a mental concentration. You would use this or this, right? So, and it brings about a state of mind that allows the nani power to flow better, or the consciousness to flow better, okay? So you're given this in a series, in a method or technique. I'm not going into the technique. I'm just giving you bits and pieces of it. We'll have to do a whole nother class in order to go into the technique. But I'm giving you the principles of what it takes to control these pranas. Now, in controlling the pranas, you have all of this knowledge now. You know the components of your body and how this works. We just went over that. But it all goes back to mind. You have a superconscious mind, you have a subconscious mind, and a conscious mind. The conscious mind is what you're using right now to communicate to us, to perceive the outside world. The subconscious mind is that thing that you're also using right now, but you are totally unaware of it, and most people are. It's collecting all the data around you, and is functioning, is making sure your whole body function right now, and it makes sure your body respond to the environment too at the same time. And your body is functioning according to the environment that you have placed yourself into. If we were at a festival, then the impulses, the thousands of impulses that's coming from that festival will put you in a different frame of mind via the subconscious mind, conscious mind, subconscious mind, and it will create the proper energy level to allow you to participate in the festival, right? Because why? It'll rise up what? All the samskaras connected to that. So all the samskaras that you have embedded inside your aura from this life and maybe past lives, all of that will come forth inside your aura like megabytes of energy. And it will come alive, giving you the mental and emotional feeling to participate in that event. Same thing when you come into a classroom. It creates the same thing. The subconscious mind will pull on those samskaras that's related to this setting. Okay? The superconscious mind is the smallest portion of the smallest physical portion of your mind, but it is instead it is the background of everything. The subconscious mind, the conscious mind, all came from the superconscious mind. All right? It's only aspects of the superconscious mind. It cannot function without the superconscious mind. The superconscious mind is that part of the mind that gives direction to you from the soul. Okay? So the superconscious mind is the higher aspects of your mind. And within the superconscious mind, you have the supraconscious mind, because you can break the superconscious mind up into two parts too. You have the superconscious mind that feeds the superconscious mind feeds the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. So I think I go into all that here, I'm not sure, but it's a diagram from years back what we use to explain this. Is this the last slide? We got through it all? So the pranayama is another way of controlling prana. We're going to techniques of this next week. There's a mystic knowledge of pranayama. And I guess we'll go into this next week too. But it's using what I have here is you see the chakras, right? The chakra system. Then I talk about the four states of sound here. I'm showing you in the diagram, and giving you at the base of the spine, you have the unmanifested sound, right? That needs to come from the Muladhara. Then at the solar plexus center, you have the first movement of sound. And then at the heart chakra, you have the meaning of sound. And then at the throat chakra, you have the gross speech, which is the expression of consciousness. And the meaning of sound, meaning that you don't understand, you can't you cannot understand, you can't grasp the meaning of something until you see it in operation, right? Someone can, if you were living 300 years ago, and someone said, "Oh, I have a," and they went back in time and they described, they say, "Well, I have a four-wheeler truck or whatever, and it have 450 horsepower or 750 horsepower." They're not going to understand that, right? It is not until they visually see that and they see it in operation and they say, "Oh, I understand now. If you line up 750 horses, it has the power of that." Okay? In their time, because why? So in the solar plexus, in the heart center, when the ancients say the meaning of sound, meaning that it is there where the sound came together, and this sound expresses itself as the seat of the soul, right? And the soul unleash the specifications to build all the subtle bodies that we exist in, which is the pranic bodies, which is the mental body, the emotional body, the astral body, and the etheric body and the physical body. It released the specifications. So then, therefore, the bodies were built, and then it took on meaning because why? Those bodies went into operation. They went into operation, and you can see the flow of prana and why it flowed that way. You can see the emotions that built up in the lower chakras, and the higher consciousness specifications that built up in the higher chakras or higher auric fields. So that's why I say the meaning. You don't grasp meaning until you see it in operation. It is at the heart chakra that this consciousness began to express itself in different bodies, okay? And then from there, when it went to the throat center, it expressed itself at the throat level. It expressed itself at the throat level through actual speech, right? But is it speech? It's an amplifier to where it became clear to understand, in a sense. So when we talk about speech, it brought it down to a level that it can be conveyed or amplified out, in other words. You understand what I'm saying? Because if someone was to hear your thoughts would be very staticky, right? Because sometimes we think about something and it's like a collage. Yeah, it's moving very quickly, and it's a bunch of pictures. And it's just one big collage. But when it reached the throat center, right, there's a purification that happened. And that's why they consider at the throat level is a level of purity, right? Because why? When it's amplified out, it's clear. It's clear. You can understand what I'm trying to say. But if I express that in the rawness of it, you won't understand it because it'll come out on so many different levels that you won't understand. Because now, when a psychiatrist or a psychologist listen to a person speak, they pick up those, they see the mental level on you, they see the emotional expression, they see the history in which you speak, they see so many different levels from one statement, when they study your speech. But if you were to express that in a raw way, no one would understand you. But you express it on your mental or basic mental level, through gross speech. That's why it's a level of purification. All right. When we get into, when you raise your consciousness to a higher level, then the purification takes on another thing, another expression. Okay.
That's why it's the fourth aspect of sound comes from there.
Yeah.
It's moving from unmanifested to a manifested type.
Right. Right. Okay. So, is there any other questions? And next week we can go into the techniques. We can go into various techniques. And you could study this, and you have any questions next week, come bring it back. Study the package, and you have any questions, make your notes, and then come back, and then we'll go over some prana manipulation type practices. Mudra practices, practices in prayer, pranayama practices, and practices in visualization, how to visualize something into being.
What did you say was it that fed the superconscious mind?
The what?
You said the superconscious mind feeds the subconscious mind?
Yeah,
Like that. What feeds the superconscious mind?
the soul.
The soul.
Yeah. So you can put up on there the second class that gives the techniques, okay? What? I make my mind up. Yeah. We can film it, and maybe we can we have a selected audience or no?
Yeah, but make it private and give them access by email.
Okay.
I have a question about one of the mudras.
Mm-hmm.
You want to wait until the mudra class?
Which one?
The vayu mudra.
Mm-hmm.
So I was reading about that finger, and in Sanskrit, the name for it means nameless one, and it was considered like a magic finger because it's connected to the heart chakra. And then in like rituals for marriage, they do like this binding ritual where they put rings on each finger and then left it on the ring finger.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds like a binding ritual. So wearing a ring, does that affect is that almost like a sealing type mudra also?
Yeah, it's a practice because what is air for us?
Intellect, inspiration,
Hmm? What?
consciousness.
It's life. So you bind yourself to that person for life. So they use the life finger to show that, because air represents life.
Yeah, when I was reading that same thought came to my mind. Lisa said it, and I wanted to know.
So when you do that mudra, well, what would the application be then
To what?
for that mudra, that vayu mudra?
I'll go into that next week. I mean, there's a lot of different things you can use it for, but I'll go into it next week.
Are there mudras where only the akasha finger is used?
Yeah, it is. But a lot of time, but you mean only used or only touched by the thumb? Yeah, yeah, it is.